It's been 4 weeks since those wonderful, peaceful marches, full of lovely, caring, sharing people calling for a holy war began. And today, poppy sellers, a fixture at train stations and outside supermarkets at this time of year, are nowhere to be seen. People raising money for injured servicemen and women, terrified that they will be abused or attacked on the streets of this country. Do you see the problem? Of course, not everyone on the marches is preaching hate. Like most decent people, they're worried about innocent lives in Gaza. But they are marching alongside people who are. Has it not occurred to woke progressives, the Be Kind crowd, who are much better human beings than you and me, that if they march alongside vocal terrorist sympathisers, they are, how can I put it, terrorist sympathisers? Would you go on a march in which a good number of people were, God forbid, calling for the genocide of anyone of African heritage, for example? Of course not. Lock them up and throw away the key. But you will walk alongside those calling for the eradication of Israel? That's an interesting take. Another interesting take is the hilarious Queers for Palestine Brigade, a bunch of woke lefties who don't realise that if Hamas got hold of them, they'd be eliminated faster than you can say vegan sausage roll. History is repeating itself, and calls for a second Holocaust on the Jewish people are being platformed in modern Britain. Why? Well, because in the name of political correctness and for fear of being called racist, the spineless authorities have turned a blind eye to this toxic, hateful ideology. That's what Suella Braverman was rightly calling out when she wrote in The Times this week that the police are, quote, playing favourites with protesters. And Labour have condemned the straight-talking Home Secretary, saying that she's inflaming tensions. No, she isn't. I think you'll find thugs on the Cenotaph calling for suicide bombings and mass murder are the ones inflaming tensions. Just look at this gathering of wonderfully peaceful people this afternoon outside London's King's College. Doesn't sound very Be Kind to me, chanting, "We will honour all our martyrs there." And I'll take no lectures on this issue from Sir Keir Starmer, who astonishingly and mysteriously forgot to wear a poppy whilst addressing British Muslims last week. An accident, according to Labour HQ. How convenient. And London Mayor Sadiq Khan claims it's Braverman who is stirring the pot. How ironic, given it's something in which he specialises. Here's what he had to say today.
Far-right are now organising on Armistice Day. They do encourage violence. They are anti-Islamic. We've seen a massive increase in anti-Semitism, but also an increase in Islamophobia. The job of the politicians like the Home Sec, myself and the Prime Minister is to support the police in doing their jobs, but also to, address people's fears rather than play on them. And I'm afraid the Home Secretary is playing on the fears of the Jewish community rather than addressing them.
Yeah, branding all counter-protesters far-right, people who simply want Armistice Day to remain sacred, anti-Islamic. It doesn't sound like the rhetoric of bringing communities together. The vast majority of Muslims in this country are peace-loving and make a huge contribution to our society. But over the last 4 weekends, we've seen unacceptable religious extremism from a vocal and influential minority over which the police and the wider authorities appear to have lost control. We've allowed this problem to fester and bubble up for years now. But these marches, whilst an affront to British values, are useful too, because they've shone a light on the extent of this problem in this country. Religious extremism is on our shores, and it's extremely worrying.